Bim! Guess what? We're live. It's 8 o'clock, just gone. And it is What a Week That Was. Every week we look at the news and we discuss it. Don't forget you can join in the chat in the chat room. If you're not watching this live, you're watching this pre-record, then make a note and watch it live in the future every Friday around about 8 o'clock. And don't forget, you can still comment in the comment section even if it's not live. Hiya, Stay Green. I hope you're well. It's JT, isn't it? I'm sure it's JT. I'm not sure. If so, I rage. Anyway, that's what we're up to. So, what's been going on this week? Well, it's actually been quite a busy week. Unusually busy, in fact. I started writing stuff and I was halfway down my little notebook by the time we got to Wednesday. Which is always a bit scary because I try and do stuff that's kind of more current. She says, "Hi, haha." What's she laughing for? No need to laugh. Anyway, we're going to get started. Yep, don't forget if you want to join in the chat, feel free. I've also done something to hopefully stop the repeated issues I have with the live broadcast. If you're listening to the podcast, I edit it out, but yeah, it's been a bit annoying of late. So then, what we're going to start with? Well, let's start with something a little bit different. Let's start with the USA carrying out intercontinental ballistic missile testing, which they delayed during the Chinese show of force over Taiwan. So basically, they wait for China to finish doing their hi smiley, and then decided to test some intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's easy for them to say. What could possibly go wrong? World War III, anybody? Other things that have been going on this week, which are a little bit different. This is one JT's familiar around about. Japan is urging its youngsters to drink more alcohol in order to boost the economy. So me, wanting to cash in, I've only just started. You're not late. I was a minute late. You're alright. So yeah, China have been saying that they need someone to actually sort out. No, they need people to what? Smiley, you've completely thrown me. Start again, shall we? Japan urges its young people to drink more alcohol in order to boost the economy. We got there eventually. I feel like I've been drinking, but I definitely not. But yeah, and I've cashed in on that by, if you go on my gin stuff that I do, my gin reviews, well, first time Phil's gin reviews, I've actually put some Japanese text on there, basically saying try British gin, is reviews of them to try and break the Japanese market by use of the Japanese government. Sounds good to me. Anyway, let's get on with the serious news, shall we? The most serious news of the week was the ongoing, you've already seen it, but the ongoing Alpine. A reason to drink, you can't argue with them. They tell you you need to drink, you need to listen. Oh yeah. Breaking news, Lightning McQueen is to race for Alpine in 2023. Continuing this saga that's going on and on and on. But this one amused me immensely, so I thought I'd share it with you as well. But yeah, obviously Alpine at the moment, well, I don't even know what, they don't know what they're doing, I don't know what they're doing, no one knows what they're doing. Thank God we've got sensible politicians like these two muppets. I mean, these two sensible people. Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss. Rishi Rich and Dizzy Lizzy. Hey, Mr. Roll. Lol. Yep, I know, I'm known for ages. Hi, Rachel. Oh, hi up. Alright, we're going to go back green again. Yeah, we are. Bit of lag there. We always get a bit of lag at the start. don't have Virgin Media. Anyway, Rishi and Dishy Rishi and Dizzy Rishi have had letters from various charities and saying basically they need to sort out the energy crisis now, not when they come in power. I don't know what they're supposed to do, because neither of them have got any power at the minute, and the only person who's got the power is Bumbling Boris, but Bumbling Boris, unfortunately, won't do anything, or is incapable of doing anything. Well, nothing new there. More of them too later on, though. It's very exciting. I hope you're excited too, because I get excited, you get excited too. Excited, I get excited. Also in the news this week was the fact that... oh, hang on, I've gone too far. Oh no, I don't want to go too far. Sir Salman Rushdie, who was breaking news last week, this week, thankfully, is making a recovery. I say thankfully, I'm not a big fan, but I don't think anyone deserves to be stabbed. He's possibly going to lose an eye. Looking at that picture there, he's got a lazy eye, so, I mean, it's probably the wrong thing to say. But yeah, let's hope that it's that one that he's been... yeah, he's going to lose. But yeah, sadly, he got stabbed, but luckily he's recovering, and the guy who got caught with the knife and everything has basically said in court that it wasn't him. It wasn't me. What you're best doing when you've got a problem is to argue it out, like the managers of Chelsea and Tottenham this week, after a football match that I think ended in a very late draw. They all went, hey Gig Roy, all went a bit mental. He doesn't want to stay in hiding, they'll get him eventually. Well, yeah, that is true, Salman Rushdie. But yeah, they had this very heated argument after the match, and this handshake. They always have to shake their hands with each other. I'd just kind of go like that, yeah, or whatever, if I just got the last minute goal in like the 123rd minute of a 90-minute match. But anyway, they had a row about it, and they really showed themselves up. One of them got a red card, which I thought was highly amusing. Somebody should get a red card. In fact, two people should get red cards, are Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un of South Korea, North Korea. And they've actually had a meeting and are becoming closer tied, which means South Korea could be threatened by North Korea with the Russians backing, because South Korea has complained about North Korea firing missiles and things into the sea, in their sea, narrowly avoiding various vessels and whatnot. But now it looks like Putin and Kim Jong-un are actually getting a bit matey. But let's be honest, who would want to be friends with either of them, apart from Donald Trump? Which takes us nicely to America, and there's a lot of controversy in America at the moment about hunting. The problem is that alligators, I didn't know this, but you can legally hunt alligators. There's an alligator hunting season. I mean, in England we have pheasant hunting season, which starts on the glorious 6th, which was a few days ago. And we shoot pheasant, which is like a bird that doesn't really fly that far, so it's quite easy to shoot it, and then you get your dog to go and pick it up from the moors and bring it back to you. But apparently in America you can shoot alligators, but you can only shoot them when it's dark. But now the Americans are saying that they can shoot alligators even in daylight because of the danger to humans that they are posing, because their numbers have gone up a lot. But their danger to humans is negligible. I mean, it's not even a fraction of the people who get killed or injured by guns in America. And if you're hunting during the day, and a lot of these are in places where tourists go to look at the alligators, then you're going to have gunmen who are shooting alligators and probably end up shooting humans instead, or as well as. So it's going to make it more dangerous rather than less dangerous. But hell, it's America. What the hell do they know about anything? I'm just leaving that there. Putin's definitely a contender for the most punchable face, says Gig Roy. He's probably going to be cock of the year on last leg, definitely. And Smiley's put, they definitely need to join forces out of anyone in the world. Yeah. Oh, it's very scary. If you're into injections, I'm not. There's a new Madonna vaccine, which apparently, well, it's been passed in the UK, but there is a possibility that it will be able to be only administered once per person a year. So you get it now when the flu season's starting, so you get your flu injection and your Moderna injection, and then that is it for COVID until next year, unless of course another super strain of COVID comes along. If you remember last week I reported on one that a new virus in China that had contaminated or infected 35 people. Not anything else about that, but I'm keeping my eyes on that. But anyway, yeah, good thing if you're not a fan of needles. So, but I'm waiting for the one where you just stick it on your arm and it does it that way, and I'll have a go then. All this chaos going on in the UK government, and the cost of living crisis, energy crisis, and all that, and the most likely person to try and sort it out or say something about it is Sir Keir Starmer, who we see here on holiday. So a bit like bumbling Boris, who can't do anything anyway, who went on holiday. Keir went on holiday. I do it when it's attached. Keir went on holiday with his family, which he's entitled to do, but then got criticised for it when he came back. But if you look carefully, that's him on holiday, and that's him when he come back. He's got the same t-shirt on. There's nothing I hate more than middle-aged men dressing like teenagers. Yeah, okay, I know, I do it all the time as well, and I make sure all the clothes don't fit, but that's not the point. Anyway, he's come up with this brilliant idea of freezing energy costs for everyone, which is it's going to cost more than what Rishi and Lizzie have come up with, which is crap anyway, and it's not going to be as effective, and it's going to, I mean, he's a knight of the realm. He's not a poor man. He's not as rich as Rishi. I mean, that's why we call him Rishi Rich. But Keir Starmer is not a poor man, but he will still get the benefit from it, whereas people, I live on a council estate, people around here are on benefits, that kind of thing. They can't even afford to buy a loaf of bread sometimes, certainly in the winter when the prices go up. So why should someone like him get the same benefits as someone like that? It should be targeted to the people who need it, people on benefits, because, well, that's the only fair way to do it. Did he turn the heating off? I think he left the gas on when he went, but thankfully it wasn't ignited, so it's fine. As we speak, Dizzy, Lizzie and Rishi Rich are currently in hustings in Bury, of all places, famous for its black puddings. And our favourite Big Brother star, who's also a Wiganer, is there, Luke Marsden, and he is basically, just get England back, I lost England then, he's basically going to have a choice of voting because he's Conservative for one of these two Muppets. Now, they were asked when they were in Scotland, would they allow another, hi Angela, would they allow another referendum for Scotland? And both of them said no. More so because there's a point where there are things more important, like the cost of living crisis, which is what Rishi said. But Liz, she's been too much Thatcherish, if that's even a word. I don't care if it isn't. And I'm getting more and more terrified about her as we go along. It's not good at all. So yeah, we wait with bated breath to see which one of them can actually sort the country out. The answer, of course, is neither. We've had some sad losses this week. In fact, it was mentioned, I caught a glimpse of it on Tuesday whilst I was driving. Darius, who was famous for Pop Idol and Pop Stars, which is a talent show in the UK, predecessor to the X Factor, has passed away. Aged 41, is in his apartment in America. No cause of death has been given yet, but it doesn't matter what it is, it's a tragedy. He was a comedy character in Pop Idol. Basically, he did a really, really naff cover version of Hit Me Baby One More Time, where he kind of go, hit me baby one more time, or something like that. Anyway, he had a couple of hits. and he did quite well. And he had a career on Broadway and on London as well, in all the musicals and everything. So he'd done really well for himself. So it's a tragic loss. But like I say, 41 is no age at all these days. Someone who's a little bit older is Dougie Brown. Now, if you're of a certain age, you will remember him on The Comedians. Comedians was a stand-up TV show, a predecessor, you could say, to Mock the Week, where the comedians just told jokes. You had Bernie Manning on there, you had the Bullseye guy on there, you had Jim Davidson, the guy who did the peacock impression, the microphone. You had them going on, and you had good old Dougie Brown. Now, he was 89, somewhere, 83, 89, I can't read my own writing. I'm too young for most of these. You will be, don't worry. That's why I'm explaining who they are. However, if you watch Coronation Street, he actually featured in Coronation Street earlier on this year, 82. That was him, and he was the old guy who got knocked over and then taken home by a couple of girls to his flat, and he said he was okay, he was fine, and then they went back to visit him the next day and he was dead. Well, that was Dougie Brown, and that was his last job. I don't think he knew at the time, but yeah, very sad if you remember them. However, pales in comparison to the murder that occurred this week in Greenford in London, of this young gentleman here on the right, who was 89. He was a busker, did it for charity, and they offered a CCTV footage of a man who had stabbed him whilst he was on his mobility scooter, minding his own business. He managed to drive his mobility scooter for 75 yards, I don't know why we're using yards, but anyway, yards, to try and get help from someone, but sadly he couldn't be saved. Anyway, a guy's been arrested and has appeared in court, so hopefully he gets what's coming to him. But yeah, absolute tragedy down there in London, and thoughts and prayers with all the families of all the people who've passed and been affected by the incidents like that. It's just horrible. If you want to get away from it all though, good news is NASA have got a massive rocket. It's not quite as big as an Apollo rocket, which again, Smiley Mac, is before your time. They were the big tall ones. But this rocket is going to go eventually to the moon. It says, I've never noticed, I didn't notice that before, but it says Artemis on the actual platform, and it's being rolled out, and then it's going to get prepped for launch in the next couple of weeks. This is a test one, and it's going to be sent to orbit the moon and then come back down again, land in the sea, and then next time, if it's all successful, they'll actually send pilots up there, astronauts, and what they'll do is they're going to set up a base on the moon, a more permanent base where they can do experiments and all that kind of thing. And I can't confirm or deny that Nando's and Starbucks are opening up a branch up there as well to get ahead of the curve for the tourists. May be true, may not be true, I don't know. But either way, we're going to follow that one with interest as the year progresses. There's already been other, which I've reported on, rockets been sent to the moon, and a couple of probes and whatever. But that one is actually just an experiment. It's a ticket to ride, mate. So yeah, it'd be bloody expensive. And you can imagine the price of the coffee. A drive-through. No, it's a fly-through. Keep up. Unless you get one of the old moon buggies up and running. Starbucks, yes. I know, the original joke was Costa. These three lads look very proud of themselves. They've just had their A-level results, along with tens of thousands of other people. The results were given out. They were the first sit-down exams that have happened for 2 years because of COVID, and the high pass marks were lower than the previous 2 years, which were on assessment from the teachers. which is understandable because teachers are going to give you, the benefit of the doubt, so give you much higher grades than what you actually get if you sit in a room and do it. But the grades were still higher than what they were in 1919 when they were last sat in a room. So they're getting more intelligent, and boys are actually catching up with girls on the results as well. When I was their age, it was the other way around. Girls were catching up with boys. The boys were always doing better in school and exams and everything than girls. But obviously that was too sexist, so we're not allowed to do that. Weren't they given out live on TV? What, their results? Possibly. I don't know. Anyway, we move on. Because inflation. The inflation rate in the UK hits 10.1%, which is the highest it's been for a considerable length of time. I say considerable length of time. Looking at that graph, it's 1982, which is roughly when I was then that lad's age. It's mainly fuel prices, diesel, petrol. Petrol is coming down though. Diesel isn't coming down as quickly because obviously lorries need diesel and we need lorries to go around, so the petrol companies are earning more billions by not putting the price down. The prices should come down at the same time. Gas prices are always going to go up at the moment because of the trouble we've got going on in Ukraine and all that kind of gubbins going on. So yeah, inflation is going up, but because diesel prices are going up, delivery charges are going up, so food's going up as well. And shops are very cleverly putting up food that used to be £1 to £1.15, which is a 15% increase, which is higher than the rate of inflation. And those kind of foods are the kind of foods that people who are on benefits buy. They don't buy lobster, they don't buy other expensive stuff like that. They can only afford to buy the cheap stuff. So a pack of 5 pizzas for the kids doing 5 teas, £1, but now it's £1.15. This is where it's wrong what we're doing. We need to sort this out. We need to get someone to take control of this and shake people around the necks and say, "Oi, behave." Sorry, got a bit carried away then. Got a bit angry. A bit angry. I'm angry. Someone who's not angry, well, she is a bit, but she wasn't when she went to a party, is the president or prime minister of Finland. President. She's had to take a drug test because this video appeared of her. I think it's her there on the left, possibly holding the camera. She was at a party while she was on holiday and she was enjoying herself, and in Finland you're not allowed to do that unless you're naked and in a sauna like Sweden. Then no, you can't let your hair down. I mean, look at Kimi Räikkönen, look at the other one before him. You're not allowed to show emotion, you're not allowed to show joy or anything like that. So the Finnish people and the Finnish press assumed she was on drugs, so they made her have a drugs test, which I think is hysterical. God, Partygate in Finland is so much more impressive in the overreaction than what it is over here with good old bumbling Boris. Who would have thought, I mean this is going to shock some people, but who would have thought there's a cinema chain that are in financial difficulties? I mean, you think someone would have come up with a theory somewhere along the line that during the COVID lockdown they're not getting customers, and then after the lockdown you're not allowed to go in cinemas unless you're 2 meters apart from everyone, and then people are just scared to go in, and in the meantime they've signed up for Disney Plus, they've signed up for Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, Discovery Plus, Sky, all of them. You watch them at home now. Why would you go to the cinema and pay for a family of 4, getting on for 40-50 quid once you got your popcorn and your sweets for one night's entertainment, when at home that would last you a whole month? And Cineworld are now possibly filing for bankruptcy, so we may lose Cineworld unless they got bailed out by another chain. But why don't they test Boris? Because we know what the answer would be. And that's the other thing as well, there's no blockbusters. A lot of the blockbusters now, people are waiting to watch them anyway when they come on to Paramount Plus, i.e. the new Top Gun, Disney Plus, all the Disney movies and that kind of thing, because it's cheaper, you're at home, there's no risk of catching anything, and there's no risk of getting ripped off as much as what you do when you go to a cinema. So great thinking, Wigan, on building a new cinema, although you haven't got the funding for it or any of the buildings you're going to build once you knock down the galleries. But if you want to know more about that, check out my last Wigan Watch, which is in the Wigan Watch playlists. Last one would probably be early 08 2022 at the time of this broadcast. You're watching this 2 months down the line. And the food is affordable at home. Exactly. I mean, okay, all the supermarkets put the price of popcorn up, but it's still cheaper than going to the cinema and buying it. And you don't have screaming kids in the background who are not paying attention. You don't have people sucking each other's face off. And you don't also have people rattling or coughing or standing up and walking in front of you, anything like that. So just watch it at home. It's the future, so it says here. Oh, Netflix. How could I forget Netflix? Anyway, if you're in London, it's been a nightmare today because London Underground has been closed down all day. Full strike, pretty much. Very few trains, if any. Buses have been on strike as well, and there's an overground, underground, overground, all on strike. The Wombles are striking because they don't like it. Want more pay, basically. There's more train strikes as well tomorrow. Locally, we've had the getting on for a month strike with Arriva buses, or Arriva, depending on how you want to say it. But the good news is, and this is brilliant news, it's over. The bus strike is over. Except it's not. They've gone back to work because the unions recommended they do, but the result of the ballot that they took hasn't actually come in yet. So they could have gone back to work and then go on strike. In the meantime, something else that I mentioned when I was doing the election, they're all back. The bus station looks so much better today. Yeah, but we don't know how long for. This is what I'm looking forward to. Bus prices are being locked. Andy Burnham, not a fan. He's the mayor of Greater Manchester. But he's said the full price from the September the 4th, a single bus journey in Greater Manchester is going to cost you £2 for an adult and £1 for a child. And that is as much. No matter how far you go, that is it. Now, whether it's, if you're going to get mugged off because you're only going 2 stops, then that's not a good thing. But if you're going from like Wigan to Manchester, then that's a bargain. And I think a day pass is £2.50 for a child and £5 for an adult. So I am on the 4th of September going to get up on the buses, and I'm actually going to start going all over the northwest and see how far I can get on a bus, and then obviously video the results and do a YouTube video on it. So that's happening. When I was a kid, I used to do that. I used to get a day bus pass, which was like 40p or 50p at the time, and then I'd get on a bus and I'd come from Stalybridge to Ashton-under-Lyne, which is probably about 3 or 4 mile. But then on Ashton, the main bus routes were I could get a bus all the way to Bolton, and if you went the other way, you could get on the bus in Bolton and then go all the way to Manchester Airport and then come all the way back again. And that's what I used to do. I'd just ride around on the buses. I loved it. And I'm kind of doing that now in the car when I do all my videos, when I walk around and everything. But the thing is, Andy Burnham's going about, oh, great, yeah, whoa, look at this, whoa, whoa, whoa. But it's going to be national. There is a national limit on fares coming in very, very soon indeed. I'm not going to say they're going to be the same as these, but there is a limit on fares coming incredibly soon, and it's going to be a national fare screen. Now, what I've always said is, a bus with a driver driving a route costs X amount of pounds. Doesn't matter how much it is, whether it's a long route, short route, it costs a set amount. The number of people on the bus is irrelevant. It's still going to cost that amount of money. So if they can fill the buses up, because how many times do you see buses when there's no one on them, or 3 people on them or whatever, if they can fill the buses up all the time, the people are paying less, but more people are using the buses, which means less people are using cars, which means congestion. It's what we should be doing with public transport. We should be doing the same thing with trains as well. There should be a maximum price outside of rush hour, but a maximum price on the trains to travel anywhere in the country, because it's the only way people are going to do it. I would not. I intend to go to London at some point this summer, there's no way on this planet I would go on a train, because it's too expensive. It's cheaper to drive down in the car, pay £16 to £20 to park in a car park in London, and then go around London, than what it is to get a single all the way to London on a train. It's ridiculous, and that's including today's petrol prices. So yeah, what they need to do is get public transport fares down. Yeah, so I did it as a kid. What I want to do is I want to get to Ashton-under-Lyne on the bus, and then I want to see if it's the 400 is still running from Bolton to Manchester Airport, and recreate that route. Because the stuff on there that I remember, like there were some houses in Royton, they're on a hill, and as you go up, and they all had flat roofs, and I'd never seen houses. They were like old terraced houses, Victorian style, but they had flat roofs. I'd never seen that anywhere before. I'd never been to a council estate where there were flat roofs. Obviously in Wigan there's quite a lot of them. Worsley Mains is a good example. But I'd never seen a flat roofed house. I've seen flat roofed buildings, but all the houses in the town where I lived and the towns around where we lived, they all had pitch roofs because they were like Coronation Street. I lived on basically Coronation Street, but our fronts of our houses were stone. They weren't brick. Obviously, if you take the stone off, there's brick behind, and then the back of the houses were all brick, but the front was all stone. So yeah, it's one of them. Public transport needs to be affordable, and more so at this time. So good on Andy Burnham for getting it sorted, but I'm not overly convinced that you can take the full credit for it, because I'm sure there's other people who can take credit for it as well, including me, because I mentioned it ages ago. Just saying, hashtag and all that, you know. Sorry. So, next up, it's everyone's favourite bit. Meanwhile, in America. La 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 America. Ba ba America. La 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 America. Now last week it was all a bit doom and gloom. This week it's still a bit of doom and gloom, but I've got a funny story to finish on, even after the doom and gloom. I picked this up immediately after I finished the broadcast. Yay, feeding babies batteries. It's none of that this week. But here we've got, this is what I picked up last week, a man, it's very sad, he fatally plunged down the New York City garbage chute as people watch him go down the garbage chute at 4 a.m. in the morning. I mean, it looks daylight there, but I assume it was indoors. A murder suspect calls 911 over cold McDonald's fries and ends up in a police chase. He was wanted for missing a court date in a case where he and two others are accused of setting fire to a car with a woman's body inside. So he rang up the police to complain. I mean, at least he didn't shoot someone like the guy did a couple of weeks ago. He rang up to complain about cold fries. The police turn up, recognise him, arrest him, and now he's yanked off to jail for a murder. Guns. Why are kids able to get hold of... I mean, it's bad enough adults, that's a rubbish way to go. Very good, Smiley Mac. Why are kids able to get hold of guns? How many weeks now? 3 weeks we've had stories where children have shot people with guns. A Bronx boy is charged with killing friends after playing with a gun. He was arrested on Thursday after the murder of his friend. It beggars belief. Yeah, exactly. I think it was a 3-year-old. You can watch it back or listen to the vlog. Listen to the podcast. Shameful plug. Trump claims FBI stole his passports. Passports? How many passports do you need? Legally, you're only allowed one. So that's probably why they took them. One probably said Donald Trump, and the other one said, I'm definitely not Donald Trump. And the third one said, I think Donald Trump's a beep beep. But yeah, stole his passports last week when they raided his residence in Palm Beach, Florida. The ones he was selling as a side business. Oh yeah, good point. Good point. New Zealand family. This is awful. They bought a suitcase and there were body parts inside the suitcase. human body parts. I could have clicked on and found out more, but I thought, nope, that's interesting enough, we'll leave it there. And then we've got this one, which is a New Zealand... Oh no, we've done that. There we go. Japanese makes arrest on bribery suspicions in Tokyo Olympics. So a former executive at an advertising company is suspected of receiving bribes from the former head of another company and two companies' employees. Now, you know what they're like in Japan. They do a lot of these apologising for things. I think he's going to have to do a lot of that, probably for the rest of his life, if he gets found out to be true, because that is not a cool thing to be doing in Japan. A large water spout. Now, the weather is mad all over the world. You look at the south of England and Wales and all that. We've got droughts, we've got hosepipe bans. Europe is burning left, right and centre. America is burning, and America is also flooding as well. Large water spouts seen off Florida coast. Water spouts are like tornadoes and water, and they are quite dangerous because they are spinning water. It's not a good sport. Very good. They are spinning water, so rather than just wind, although the wind does have debris, and it's the debris that kills you in a tornado, this is like water. So if it ever gets on land, not that they do very often, or they hit a boat, you are, well, you're going to see your maker, whomever that may be. I'm not Salman Rushdie, I'm not going to say anything. A couple were accused of having a bit of whoopee aboard a Ferris wheel in Ohio, or as we like to call them, a big wheel. A daringly frisky couple have been charged with public indecency after they were caught allegedly doing the deed aboard an Ohio Ferris wheel on Sunday night. I knew water was deadly. Yeah, water can be deadly. Apparently, if you fall more than 3 floors onto water and you don't do it right, you're dead. It's alright, I moved to America. Elon Musk randomly claims that he plans to buy Manchester United in a tweet. I mean, to be fair, the way they're doing it at the moment, I'm not an expert in football, but I know they're a bit crap. I think the bottom of the Premier League, or certainly they have been this week, their share price must have been plummeting at the moment. Their relationship must have had its ups and downs. That's very good as well. But Elon Musk is already in a legal fight with Twitter because he pulled out. He was going to buy them, and then he found out that they'd lied to him with a number of people who are actually on Twitter, and included all the bots that are on there as well, as if they were individual accounts. So he said, well, no, that's like millions and millions of accounts that don't exist, so I'm not buying it. Which I thought was fair enough, but now he's been taken to court over that because he'd agreed to buy it, but then he found out that they were lying to him, so surely to God that makes him able to pull out of the deal. Anyway, he's now said he wants to buy Manchester United, although if you live in Manchester, you'll know that the guy who owns Ineos, who are on the back of the Formula 1 cars, the oil company, you know, the oil company that Lewis Hamilton gets paid from for sponsorship. You know, Lewis Hamilton, him who wants to save the planet and everything. Anyway, I digress. I shouldn't be using this to hit Lewis Hamilton with. Apparently United was just a joke. Yeah, I hope so. He wants to buy it, the guy who owns Ineos. Uber Eats. Uber Eats driver says he made only 37 cents in 4 hours. An Uber Eats driver went viral for claiming that he netted a measly 37 cents for 4 hours of work. He did buy $31 worth of gas, and he did 8 deliveries. No, he made $30.97 in 8 deliveries, but he had to fill up his tank with gas. Well, yeah, that's called expenses, but that gas would last you a lot longer than the 4 hours that you worked, unless you're driving like Lewis Hamilton or other Formula 1 drivers are available and preferred. A newly signed New York law says toy weapons must be white, bright, and colours are translucent. So basically, a gun cannot look like a gun. Hang on a minute. We've had this in Europe and the rest of the civilised world forever. When was the last time you went into a shop and you could buy a plastic gun that was the colour of a plastic gun and not fluorescent orange or whatever? I mean, to be fair, I think the whole thing's flawed anyway, because if I had a real gun, I'd just paint it in fluorescent colours and then pretend it was a toy gun while I snuck up on someone. And not that I would do that. I love him. I think he's great. He's one of the best drivers we've ever had. But yeah, so far behind. I mean, it is like a time warp when you talk. So we ain't more than 37 cents each has spent it. Yeah, exactly. It's, it's like when I buy stock for the shop. I used to have a shop once. I pay for that stock one day, but that'll be more than I actually took. We still sell metal cap guns that look like real guns at a grocery store here in Oregon. Exactly. In America they do, but over here it'd be orange, or it'd have something on it that made it look not like a real gun, so that kids or people messing around with guns wouldn't get shot with them. But I just paint my gun fluorescent orange anyway, and I'm done with it. There are still people who are saying that the moon landing wasn't original. Now, I've got a theory about this. I think they landed on the moon, but I also think they did film stuff on Earth, because the picture quality, the camera angles and everything don't work. But I've heard people say that you've got a really powerful telescope, you can actually see where man has been on the moon. You can see the landing the base unit of the platform. You can see the moon vehicles and all that kind of stuff. But I think they have filmed some stuff, because it was 1960s. I mean, you can't even get a live link these days. Well, I was watching Northwest Tonight, and they were talking about something, and one of the guys, the reporters, was in the newsroom, which was like 15 metres away, and there's no sound. So if 2022 you can't do that, then I reckon the link to the moon probably wasn't right. They had the spacesuits on, they had the helmets on and all that kind of stuff, so I think there might have been some fraud there, but I genuinely think we actually made it there in the first place. Angela, yeah. Angela is... Oh, no Angela today. She might be working. Oh, no, it's Smiley Mac who normally works, isn't he? Anyway, they say there was a hippie reflected in the mask of the spaceman. And I don't... Oh, yeah, there you go. I thought I'd seen Angela. She's just been very quiet. America again. Gotta love America. The Taliban do, anyway. When they abandoned, exactly a year ago this week, Afghanistan, and the Taliban moved in, the Taliban basically found around about $7 billion worth of US military equipment. It's... Really? So you can afford to lose $7 billion of war equipment and not even notice? Oh, here we go. Right. I said there was one that was a bit like the batteries. I hope you're ready for this, because I'm not ready for this, and I know what it is. If you like Shrek, I watched the first Shrek, I didn't watch any more. The first Shrek, one of the characters in it was quite funny. He broke his leg, and then they used some icing sugar to put it back together again, if I remember rightly, or I might have dreamt that bit, I don't know. And he was a very 2D character. That's because he was made out of gingerbread. He was the gingerbread man. Well, prepare to have that image completely shattered. This is what they're showing kids in America. California school district curriculum includes a gingerbread identity man. Now it's a man, so surely it should be a gingerbread identity person if we're going down that route. So where the is your pee or your foo-foo, or whatever else you want to call it, they've got the symbols there. That's nice. They've also got a thing on the brain with the mirror, with the rainbow in it, saying identity, and then they have a heart with attraction. And the gingerbread identity was found by public records request in Newport, and it's in their sex ed curriculum. It's like, what the absolute hell is that? And then they wonder why kids end up shooting each other with guns. I mean, it's like, you know, he touched me here, here and here. It's, I mean, they mean man as in mankind, it makes a little sense, but definitely should be person to make it less confusing. It only happens in America. One hopefully only happens in America. I've got a 4-year-old grandson who featured actually very amusingly on one of my latest Walk Round videos. Let's Go To videos, the airport. It's worth watching just to hear him in the background continually not shutting up, but coming out with some right classic stuff. I'll never watch Shrek the same again. Yeah, just imagine that symbol in his groin area. Wouldn't mind, but I'm pretty sure they don't have gentlemen's or ladies' regions anyway in them. Anyway, what do I know? The public school system there is horrible. The public school system everywhere is pretty horrible, I would imagine. A Russian, this is a different place. A Russian ammunition depot in Crimea is hit by explosions. Over 3,000 people are evacuated. Russians believe Ukraine launched another attack on an ammunition depot in Crimea on Tuesday, forcing more than 3,000 people to flee from the black smoke. America is such a silly country. Yeah. This is stuff that wasn't reported over here as far as I'm aware. Obviously the gingerbread man wasn't. Oh, we've done that one. It was that good I thought I'd mention it twice. We've all heard about people getting done for speeding. What about this? A tourist arrested for zipping down Venice's Grand Canal on a motorised surfboard. So tourists were using the canals, using motorised surfboards on the canals, and there are speed limits, so they got arrested, and they may, well, it says here as well, one of the surfers fell off his board under the Akadema Bridge, but made sure to keep his phone out of the water to film his cohort's exploits. People were offered a free dinner if they reported them to the police. Oh, we should do that round here for the people on motorbikes with no helmets and whatnot. Anyway, it's another story for another day. A Georgia toddler finds an elderly woman who was missing for days. It's like the best game of hide and seek ever, apart from the fact the toddler wasn't playing hide and seek. Never knew you could get a motorised surfboard. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I think I'd sooner have one of them things you sit on. Jet skis. Sooner one of them. Hopefully it doesn't drive off if you fall off. Yeah, that'd be rubbish, wouldn't it? The young boy was pointing at the feet of the missing woman while he was playing bubbles in his playground. I wonder what happened to Michael Jackson's chimpanzee. Apparently this little boy's got it. Probably a mistake. The chimpanzee probably thinks it is Michael Jackson, to be fair. Similarities are shocking. Anyway, she'd gone missing and she was hiding in his backyard, and he sort of feet from underneath a bush or something, pointed him out. One come out and said, "What are you doing here?" Anyway, she found a way home and everything was lucky. A man dies after eating 1 in a billion bad oyster at a Florida restaurant. An oyster that contains harmful bacteria doesn't look, smell or even taste different from any other oyster. Wow! Guess what I'm never eating again? Guess what I've never eaten ever? I'll be honest with you. More of that later. House contender Biagi accused of ageism for childbearing age tweet. He won the lottery and paid the price. Yeah, that's true. You're more likely to win the lottery than to get one of them oysters, I suppose, but still. At the risk of sounding ageist, it's still important to ask where the majority of Congress is past childbearing age and how fierce we can expect their fight to be. So basically she's saying that all the old fogies who are in their parliament, or equivalent of, Congress, are old and can't actually make decisions and haven't got the energy to say anything about anything, and blah blah blah. And now she's been accused of being ageist. But I think it's a reasonable question. I'm very uncool. I am one of the least uncool sections of the population at the minute. I am a middle-aged white man. everything about that is wrong these days. So, as far as I'm concerned, everyone should be treated the same regardless of anything. Unless they're a max murderer or something, obviously. China, Russia, too close for comfort after Putin slams Pelosi Taiwan trip. State Department spokesman said that Washington is troubled by the burgeoning relationship in the security realm between Moscow and Beijing. If you remember, they did some exercises together. Serves him right for eating oysters. Disgusting. Yeah, I've never seen the attraction of eating oysters. I've never eaten a mussel either, or a cockle. Although a lot of people are always surprised when I say I've never eaten a cockle. But no, never have. Russia changes head of Black Sea Fleet amid Crimea strikes. So basically, the guy in charge of the Russian, it's his own fault for going to Florida. Yeah, maybe they should have shown him a gingerbread man, and that would have put him off his oysters, and it'd have been all right. The Kremlin has reportedly ousted the head of its Black Sea Fleet after a series of apparent Ukrainian attacks. So Ukrainian attack where he is, and he gets fired for it, which I don't really get how that works, but well, it's Russia and it's all. Some Trump supporters literally equate ex-president to Jesus, and there's a very disturbing image there of Trump. I mean, you know, the baby Trump we had in London when he visited, the airship thing was scary, but that's even scarier. It is scary how a lot of Americans think that Trump is some kind of god. It's I don't get it. This story is one that keeps giving and giving and giving, but in a gruesome way. Fifth set of human skeleton remains found at Lake Mead. Lake Mead is drying out because of the drought in America, and they've now found a fifth body, skeletal remains, in the water. Now, one can only assume that they are either skeletal remains that may have been buried maybe thousands of years ago. He is the amount of times people say, "Oh God," when he comes on TV. That's actually good. That Donald Trump reference there, Smiley. I like that one. But yeah, they could have buried them legitimately. Obviously, they wouldn't bury them 6 foot deep. Then Lake Mead has been put on the site, and the water moves around, and the bones have worked their way up, and then the water's gone away, and then the bones are exposed. More likely, it's people who've been kidnapped by gangsters or whatever, and given some concrete boots and chucked into there, because one would assume if it was someone who'd gone swimming and gone missing, they would have actually, you know, like they do in Britain, searched the area until they found the person, either alive or dead. So yeah, pretty gruesome, but I mean, they could have been there from the 50s, things like that. So I don't think you're ever going to prove anything. Oh, one of my favourite kind of people in the whole world. I mean, America, you deserve these people, I'll be honest with you. You really, really, really deserve these people. Because these people are so amazingly good at ripping off Americans and getting loads of money off them. If you've never watched it, type in on when I finish this, or write it down, get a pen and paper, or put it on your phone, on your notes. Genesis, as in the Bible Genesis. Jesus, He Loves Me, and watch that video. It's a pop video and it is hilarious. Now, remember a week or two ago we were on about one of these evangelists, give me money, save yourselves, give me money kind of people who had $1 million worth of jewellery stolen live on air. Well, this guy, he berates his congregation for not buying him a pricey new watch. I ain't worth your Louis Vuitton. I ain't with your Prada. I'm not with your Gucci. I mean, what the hell? Okay, it's Kansas City, so yeah. Vegas is wild. Or after someone whose parents fed them batteries went swimming and got a big shock. But yeah, he's moaning because his congregation have not sent enough money in for him to go out and buy a new watch. Only in America. Thank them for that. Meanwhile, in Saudi Arabia, a woman gets 34-year sentence for Twitter posts backing women's rights activist. She's actually from the UK, and she was detained in January 2021 when she flew over on holiday. She was originally from Saudi Arabia, but she'd been living in Britain for years, and she flew back and she was arrested because she tweeted support for a women's rights activist, and now she's been sentenced for tweeting 34 years in prison in Saudi Arabia. You think America's bad. Call of Duty publisher Activision Blizzard accused of illegal surveillance on workers. It's not illegal surveillance on workers. What it is they've got Apple iPhones, and there's a security flaw in them, so they accidentally watch them at home talking about work in the bath or whatever. I love when people go to them backward countries, break the law, then get arrested for amount beheaded, got no sympathy. I am in agreement with you've got to comply with the beliefs, the wishes and the laws of the countries you go to, regardless of what they are and regardless of what your beliefs are, because you're in their country. For example, Djokovic, the tennis player, couldn't go to Australia at the beginning of the year because he hadn't been vaccinated. He flew in anyway because he said he got an exemption pass, but they held him and then threw him out again. And I was like, yeah, that's right. By all means, have a vaccine, don't have a vaccine, whatever you feel comfortable with. But don't expect to be able to, through your own choice, go into somewhere where that is mandatory and they'll let you in. Doesn't matter who you are. And it's the same with the thing, if you go to Saudi Arabia, I wouldn't stand in the middle of Saudi Arabia or Dubai and have a placard and scream and shout abuse about the leaders of that country for their human rights abuses, because that is asking for trouble. And if they've already got human rights abuses and then you're screaming and shouting about them, you're going to find out what them human rights abuses are like up close and personal, and you deserve it as well. Anyway, Activision accused of surveillance, and Activision and Blizzard have had a lot of bad press with their employees for quite a long while now, I'll be honest with you. So yeah, I think it's just not a good company to work for. It's like one of my dreams. Not as in, wow, naked man. Not that kind of dream. Like, when I have dreams, I'm usually naked. There's one where I was running around and I knew I was naked, and other people knew I was naked as well, but no one said anything about it, and I didn't do anything about it, but I was running from somewhere to somewhere else for no apparent reason, naked. Anyway, this wasn't a dream for this guy, unfortunately. Also, it was like the photographer for the New York Post has gone on holiday because the pictures from now on are shocking, which is a good thing in this case. It's not pixelated. They're all like that from now on. What did we tell you about recreating your dreams? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, a driver involved in a car accident in Los Angeles gave rubberneckers something to gawk at when he got out of his vehicle naked at the scene. It was 12:30 p.m. on Friday, and he just got out of the car and he had nothing on. Bizarre. It's not a lot you can say to it. But yeah, apparently it is. I thought I was the only person in the world who dreamt about being naked in dreams, but no, apparently a lot of people do. And more pixelated pictures. Built like a wall, though. Well, yeah. I mean, I've been working out, cold showers and all that, Anyway, I digress. Milwaukee mum fatally shoots an intruder, claims self-defence. A Milwaukee woman claims she was defending her children when she fatally shot an intruder who entered her home. To be fair, if that intruder was entering the home and threatening her and her family and she had a gun, fair dues, because it's America. He probably had a gun as well. Anyway, she had a 12 and 14-year-old screaming from the living room So she went into a room, grabbed a gun, confronted the intruder, who was undeterred by the family's 2 pit bulls. So she shot him. To be fair, she shot him multiple times. That's probably a bit overkill, literally. But yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And I think, you know, slap on the wrist or whatever, but other than that, no, it's fine. US and Taiwan move forward with trade negotiations as China tension grows. Basically, there is a trade delegation in Taiwan agreeing a trade agreement between Taiwan and America, which will make the 2 countries closer. Which will make America as a country and Taiwan as a democracy closer. All the chips that they sell, not the chips that you eat. In America, they're like the crisp cheeks in a bag, but over here, they're like fries, chips, that's what we call them. But yeah, I'm on about computer chips, and there's a new generation of computer chips coming out. There's a factory being built at the moment in Taiwan for these new ones. So they're obviously doing a deal for that, and it's upsetting China more than a tad. So what did America do? Oh yeah, they fired off intercontinental ballistic missiles because they can. I'll tell you one species that's not frightened of going to America though, and that is whales and dolphins have all gone to visit New York City. That's a small whale that's jumping out of the water. Just watch out for low-flying chips there. Just watch out for low-flying aeroplanes flown by a pilot called Scully off of Monsters Inc. because they have bases where China import their oils from. Oh yeah, there's a lot. It's very complicated, all that. Strong winds knock over porta potties. Now I didn't know what a porta potty was, but then looking at the picture, even though it's really crap quality, it's a portaloo in New York State Food Festival. So basically, the portaloos have been blown over with really strong winds because global warming, which doesn't exist according to Trump. And yeah, it didn't say whether people were in there or not, and when they come out, the people were blue with brown stripes. Nothing was said, but you never know. I'd love to go to blunt warning. Adams, who is the the mayor, of New York, has scolded illegal cannabis. Scolded them. I mean, that's a word I've not heard since I was 4. After New York City tows 19 weed trucks. So the mayor says the illegal cannabis business in New York is many people don't read the complete law. All they read is weed is legal, and they just kick into gear. So yeah, basically he scolded them. If they're illegal, you arrest them. I mean, okay, they're seizing the trucks, but yeah, I've said that. Maybe give everyone weed in New York, and the gun crimes will come down. Right, remember the Oyster man? Florida man who died after eating raw oyster had drugs in his system, says the medical examiner. So when they did the post-mortem, he had several drugs in his system, including fentanyl, cocaine. He also tested positive for cannabis, oxycodone, and opiates. So it might not have been a bad oyster after all. It might have just been the fact he was drugged to the eyeballs and beyond. Allegedly, obviously. We don't know. Another gruesome find. This is Yellowstone National Park, and an employee finds a floating foot in a hot spring. Just the foot. The shoe, the foot, nothing else. Floating around in a hot spring. The spring is 53 feet deep, and it reaches temperatures of 140 degrees. Oh, that explains why you had them to begin with. Yeah, we're on about the oysters, aren't we? Yes, definitely. The area was closed off for a while, but since been reopened because, let's be honest, 140 degrees. Even if he's got athlete's foot, it's going to be safe, isn't it? It's killed all the germs on it, so yeah, he'll be fine. Chomp away. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, never heard of him until this week, takes a sledgehammer to dirty dining sheds. Basically, they built temporary sheds for people to eat outdoors during COVID. Oh, hey up, we're freezing. Someone really put their foot in it. Very good. Nobody knows why he went to Florida. Are we coming back? No, we're not. Am I back though? Am I back? That is the multi-million-dollar question. Yeah, I am back because it's got the wrong picture on. Right, okay. Oh, it's going red again. No, it's going green again. No, it's going red again. Right, let's try and muddle through. There's not much left. We're nearly at the end. Where are we up to? Foot. There we go. Oh no. So, people had left them up, so men had been using them as toilets. So yeah, they stunk a bit of wee-wee and other fluids. Right, we're still going red. Now we're green. Right, not got long left. I want to get these. I want to get these done. I'm back. I'm back. Don't worry, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. A suspect on an e-bike accused of sexually assaulting at least 3 women in New York City since May, and they come up with a 1950s drawing of him. I think in this day and age we could do better than that, couldn't we? Personally, anyway. I think we could. But what do I know? I'm not a policeman in New York City. Thank God for that. Makeshift Arizona border wall falls over, and the governor suspects foul play. Right, so this is a makeshift Arizona border wall, and it's made from they're cargo containers. It's makeshift, and there is shoddy. They probably blew over in a bit of a wind. You know what the weather's like in America at the minute. So yeah, and he wonders why they blew over. He says foul play. No, foul workmanship building the blinking things in the first place. Next up, a world's most extravagant latest pleasure toy among stolen items in Texas toy Shop Heist. A naughty trio swiped more than $58,000 worth of toys from a Texas shop, including the world's most extravagant Swarovski crystal encrusted Swarovski crystal encrusted. What? Why would you put that? I wouldn't even put that on my skin. Never mind insert it somewhere. Would you put a diamond ring up there? I don't think so. Unless you were smuggling it out of a diamond mine, maybe. But even then I'd wrap it in tissue first. But yeah, who knew? Who knew? Then we've got the thing about Apple. Apple released a security update after revealing devices vulnerable to hackers. Basically, they can access all your files, they can access your camera, you can look at what's going on in the room, and they can access the microphone and listen to what's going on in the room as well. They can also record your calls and everything. But they have to be very specifically looking at you. It's not a broad thing. So it's very unlikely, unless you're a politician or someone, a high profile celebrity, something like that, that you're going to be chosen, unless they want to watch an old man pleasuring himself with a vibrator that he bought from he stole from a sex shop. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, it is a scary thought, and this is what Apple have said. Attacks like the ones described as highly sophisticated cost millions of dollars to deal and off shop self-life and used on specific individuals. I'm Android as well. That's why I talk like a robot. No, I didn't get it out of it, to be honest. 2 more and we're done. Vladimir Putin offers Russian mothers $16,000 cash bonus if they have 10 children. Now, by the time they're ready to go to war, be about 12 years' time, Putin will probably be dead. So I don't know what he's doing this for. But Russian President Vladimir Putin has offered Russian mothers an extraordinary cash bonus if they have 10 or more children. It was a Soviet-era incentive. 145 million people there already, and they're planning for the future. They call it the Honouring Mother Heroine Award. I call it Slack Alice Award. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, the initial accolade was handed out to around about 400,000 women, which means there'd be a lot of kids from that era. But they're all getting old now, I suppose. So yeah, maybe what they should do is do 10 this time, and then in 20 years' time, do it again, but only do it for 8, and just wind it down so you don't need as many to look after the old people who survive. But I've said that we have a nuclear war. Maybe we're not having a nuclear war. Maybe Putin's proving a point that we're not having a nuclear war because he's... no, what am I talking about? North Korea tells South Korea president to shut his mouth after an offer of aid. Kim Jong-un, his sister, Kim Yoo-young, the powerful sister of Kim Jong-un, said on Friday that the president should shut his mouth after reiterated that his country was willing to provide economic aid in return for nuclear disarmament. It's like you couldn't make it up. People are starving in their country. They've got this nuclear program. They're being offered a bailout by a neighbouring company if they reduce their nuclear wishes, and they basically tell the president to shut his mouth. I mean, diplomacy at its best. It's easy for you to say. And that is it. That was one week. That was. We will leave it with a picture of the spaceship because it is a pretty cool sight. Oh, wrong one. So yeah, there you go. So a massive thank you to JT, or Stay Green, and Rachel, Smiley Mac, Angela O'Kane, Admiral Cat, been quite chatty today, which is good. I've done Smiley Mac, yeah, I've done Smiley Mac. Gigroy, Meester Lol. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. I think we need to add Russia to the America thing. Yes, I think we probably do, actually, to be fair. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully we'll see you all again next week, when we will again be looking at what a week that was. Until then, bye.